Well, we're over 14 weeks into the Biden administration, and we're headed for trouble. Last week, the CDC said our 100 days of masking and nearly 105 million vaccinations has paid off, and they have lifted the mask mandate for outdoor activities. Joe Biden plans to keep the fight against COVID going and sets his next goal to vaccinate 70% of adults by July the 4th. And he has shut down air traffic from South Africa and India to protect the U.S. due to their spike in cases, which sounds awfully familiar to when Trump shut down air traffic from China and other countries to stop the spread. But he was called xenophobic for that. Trump was even called racist for building a wall to protect America. And Biden immediately put a halt to construction. However, now Biden is coming out saying that we must fill the gaps in the wall that was left by the Trump administration. Interesting. Now you think we need the wall? This administration is so hypocritical. Illegal immigration is worse than we could even imagine. And it's not just down at the border anymore.
The airlines, along with TSA, have agreed to, at the direction of Department of Homeland Security, to carve out exceptions for these individuals, that they don't have to have documentation like you and I would have to have, or a driver's license or any form of federal government ID to board a plane. The document you're seeing right now says, hey, I don't speak English. Can you please help me get to my final destination? On the other side, it gives the airline times and destinations of where they're going.
Good morning. Just in the last 45 minutes, we received confirmation ICE is investigating right here where they found a suspected human smuggling attempt on the street in Katy. From the sky, we caught video of law enforcement surrounding an 18-wheeler on a street along Park Road for hours this morning. The back doors were open, and there appeared to be blankets inside. A man who lives nearby saw a group of people there at about 3:30 this morning and called Precinct 5 deputies. ICE says they found 5 undocumented immigrants.
Welcome to CBS This Morning. We begin with dramatic video highlighting the often terrible risks of human trafficking. A suspected smuggling vessel packed with people ran aground yesterday near San Diego. More than 24 suspected migrants were aboard the 40-foot boat, and 4 people died.
And in the process of, we had our tactical operations team, SWAT, go in and execute the search warrant. And when they got inside the house, they realized that this is actually going to turn into a human smuggling investigation. Now, there's no children inside. Youngest is probably early 20s. And as of right now, I think we have approximately 5 females and the rest are males.
The president of Mexico said Biden knew that this would occur because of his promises to immigrants. And Biden responded by lifting the Trump refugee cap from 15,000 to 62,000. But who are the refugees? Refugees are those who flee their countries because they have no choice. Immigrants are those who willingly leave their countries to relocate. That's not the same thing. So are we changing the definition and labeling immigrants as refugees? Now, we all know Kamala has plans to travel to Mexico at some point and see why our tax money for foreign aid has not helped the chronic issues facing these individuals and get to the root cause of the surge of immigrants at the border. But of course, because of COVID, she has postponed her travel. And she is virtually conducting business with Mexico's government instead, and has decided the best thing to do is to give an additional $310 million to Central America in foreign aid in the meantime. Okay, for real, somebody needs to tell us where our money is going. We know the people aren't getting it if they are fleeing from famine and violence. And clearly it's not going to their infrastructure because...
We begin in Mexico, where at least 20 people have been killed and dozens more injured in a metro accident in the capital, Mexico City. Authorities say that an elevated section of the rail system collapsed while a train was passing through, sending part of the train onto a busy road below.
This whole situation is a mess, and so is the relationship between the U.S. and North Korea. 2 weeks ago, the U.S. reached out to North Korea to discuss the nuclear program and the illegal missile launch carried out by Kim Jong-un, and to reiterate the consequences that will follow for breaching the agreement. But Jen said that they still haven't got back to us yet. Well, guess what, y'all? Korea called. And they're not too happy with the language Joe Biden used, calling their missiles and nuclear program a security threat. Kim Jong-un called it a big blunder and warned Biden that if the U.S. doesn't back up off of them, we will have a grave situation on our hands. Now, I don't take too kindly to threats, so Joe better have a plan, because he can act like he got it all together if he wants to. But North Korea has previously tested their missile launch before, and it has been reported that it only takes 40 minutes for a Korean missile to blow up New York City. That is not good. You want to know what else is not good? Celebrity marriages. Big money marriages are crumbling and business ties are being severed, as Bill and Melinda Gates call it quits after 27 years of marriage. This is following Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos' divorce announcement and the selling of Amazon shares back in July of 2019. On Wednesday, Jeff sold off $2 billion in Amazon stock and plans on selling $2 million in shares. So what's really going on? Are these couples really just drifting apart? Or are people washing their hands off of all that has been done in the dark before it comes to light? Speaking of seeing the light, Caitlyn Jenner said,
"That's why I oppose biological boys who are trans competing in girl sports in school. It just isn't fair. And we have to protect girl sports in our..."
Wow, okay. Who would have thought Caitlyn would have said something I agreed with? However, this is coming from an athlete and an Olympian, so it makes sense. At the end of the day, it's simply not fair for males to compete with females. It's not personal, it's just sports. Oh, and I guess saying that is not so homophobic after all. It's just downright common sense. But common sense is not so common anymore, and people don't seem to think before they speak, which could be the reason why protests have been kind of quiet this week. I'm guessing when you falsely accuse an officer for shooting an unarmed person, that will do it. But things are sure to heat up again as Derek Chauvin and his lawyer Eric Nelson demands a retrial with a fair and unbiased jury and wants to cash in on his granted appeal. Now, I don't want to sound like a genius or anything, but I knew this was going to happen.